Here I was thinking that Brock Purdy had done enough last year to deserve the respect from pretty much everyone, even the doubters and people who didn't believe he was that guy. He's proven he belongs in this league. He belongs as a starter, and he's definitely a top 15, if not top 10 quarterback. I have him in that top 10 category. But again, it's a very objective list, and you can put him wherever you want. Hey, we just saw from Colin Cowherd on a video that I just did where he doesn't even put him in the top 12. I'll post a link to that video in the description if you want to see me break that down. But this video is about another ranking, and it's about Michael Penix, the quarterback coming out of Washington. And he gives his top five quarterbacks. And obviously, spoiler alert, Brock Purdy's on it. And that's why we're talking about it. But listen to his reasoning, why he's putting Brock Purdy in the top five. And again, looking at these other lists, like we just talked about with Colin Cowherd, not even putting him in the top 12. We're going to react to it on the other side. But take a look right here. Michael Penix says Brock Purdy, top five quarterback. You bet. Take a look right here.
Five quarterbacks, I would say you got to go Pat Mahomes. Lamar Jackson is there. I feel like Joe Burrow is up there. Ooh. I'm going to put Brock Purdy in there.
I love it.
Just because of things that he was able to do. You know, a lot of people doubted him, and even in the championship game, I felt like he felt real confident, make big-time throws.
He made some big throws for sure.
They always say it's the guys around him, but, man, you still got to get him
the ball.
How
that feels.
Yeah, I put him up there. Justin Herbert, I feel like he's a very good passer as well.
I like Michael Penix a lot. I actually started watching him when he was at Indiana before he made the transfer over to Washington, and then obviously had the success that they were able to find and go all the way to the national championship game, although they fell short. Still a pretty awesome college career by him. And of course, you're talking to a quarterback. This is a guy who knows the position, arguably better than anyone else because he's played it. And so that's a great step in regards to having a authoritative opinion about evaluating quarterbacks. Now, again, everyone's entitled to their opinion and entitled to how they feel about these things. So is one person right, wrong? It's objectively up to them at the end of the day, but that's what we do. We look at these things, we talk about them, and we judge them on it. So, Michael Penix putting Brock Purdy in the top five. I think one of the things that I think stands out to me of why Penix puts him in the top five, and this to me feels like a recent ranking based on like what happened last year, where I think, when you kind of look at Colin's rankings and you try to contextualize it, you could look more maybe career based than just singular, maybe per year or a projection to next year or right now, based on a bunch of different factors. So we keep that in mind. But I think the thing that stands out to me is kind of Michael Penix talking about him as just kind of being underrated a bit, kind of, not being talked about as highly as he should have, kind of being slandered a little bit too much. And, if you look at Michael Penix, kind of similar as the guy who's been underrated throughout his career, landing in Indiana, going to Washington. No one ever really, I think it gave Washington a chance just because, West Coast bias, Pac-12 bias, and all those different types of things. And, he's had to rebound from some injuries as well. So I just think there's a mutual respect there. I think Penix understands how difficult and challenging it is to come back from a severe injury, to be able to get back to playing at a high level. And the fact that both these guys have been able to do it, that there's a different type of understanding that goes into actually functionally going through a rehab period and process, getting your mind right, body right to go play and then play at a high level. I think guys who've done that before speak from that perspective. They speak from a perspective of, hey man, I've been there and done that. Now, it might not have been a UCL injury with Penix. He had ACLs and things like that, but still, I think it counts. And so hearing what Michael Penix had to say about Brock, I think is refreshing, to be able to put him in the top five, especially for how he played last year. And I mean, if we really look at it, and just really try to remove biases. It's like, look at what Brock has done. Again, it's the draftism. It's where he was taken. It's how he looks. It's the jokes with the the Coles fits. It's all of it. It's like he doesn't look like a top 5 quarterback. He doesn't look the part according to the way Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson have kind of even Justin Herbert, how they've kind of look and play from a physical standpoint. Um, it's almost like he has to go above and beyond to just prove he belongs, let alone just proving how good he is. And again, I think this is all water under the bridge for Brock Purdy. It's more for us, whether people in the media, people who make content. These rankings are for us. They're not for anyone else, because they're all objective, and they're all objective to who created them. Just like this list is objective to Michael Penix. And so you have to try to take into his context where he's been as a player, what he sees, and how he sees the quarterback position and what lens he's looking at that through. So just like us as 49er fans, we look at Brock Purdy through the lens of being a 49er fan. But the ones of us who are capable, we can take the objective look, take away the biases, take away, as I'm sitting here wearing a 49er hat and I'm surrounded by 49ers things, you guys know, I'm a big fan of player evaluation, regardless of what jersey you're wearing, whether it's college, whether it's in the NFL. So we try to take out those biases, and we just try to look objectively at the player, at you remove the name off the jersey, remove the colors and the logo, and just evaluate the player. And I think that's the hardest part for most people, especially this season. I think, again, I was surprised that Colin Cowherd put out that list and didn't include Brock. I felt like we had gotten beyond that. I felt like we come on, Colin. We grew beyond that. And we have an entire sample size of work, not including last year that Brock took the 49ers to a Super Bowl overtime. But what he did last year as a rookie, getting thrown into the fire, and then the season that he had coming back from the UCS. So again, it's objective to every single person who's making this list, who knows the true, you know, reasonings for Collins' list, who knows the true reasoning for Penix's list, who knows the true reasonings for anything these days. I think we can all agree with that. But at the end of the day, it's so just ridiculous to not think that Brock is a good quarterback. Listen, you don't have to think he's the best. You don't have to think he's top 5. You don't have to think he's elite. None of those things need to be uh true for you also to say Brock Purdy's a really damn good quarterback, and he's deserving of being in the top 10 with what he's been able to do this early on in his career. If any top 5 pick has done what Brock Purdy has done in his first 2 seasons, he would be crowned the next Mahomes, Brady, Montana, already be crowned that. But because of where he was taken, how he looks, how he's perceived, everyone's always trying to wait for him to fail. They're waiting for him to fail because it's easier. It's easier to assume he's going to fail than assume he's going to be successful. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Everyone's entitled to their opinion and their evals, and they should stick to those. Don't borrow anyone else's. Have your own opinion. That's fine. But it's, again, it's funny how we just put out a video about how Colin Cowherd doesn't even put Brock in the top 12. And then you have Michael Penix, incoming draft eligible quarterback, putting Brock Purdy in the top 5. So you want to talk about polarizing? There's a perfect example right there. Again, if you want to see the video that I just made of Colin not ranking Brock in the top 12, and we do a full breakdown of where I think he should be slotted, why the names he puts in there shouldn't be there, all those different types of things, that's in the description. Feel free to watch that video. But I want to see from you, Is Brock Purdy a top 5 quarterback? And hey, if you don't feel like you're ready to put him in the top 5, I don't think that's a problem, especially coming from 49er fans. But we're going to have a different question in regards to him being in the top 10. Do you believe so? If you don't feel comfortable putting him in the top 5, don't feel like you're not a 49er fan, you don't know ball. No, 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 no. I feel like top 5 is generous. Top 10, though, I think we can have a different conversation. But if you don't think he's top 10, I also want to hear from you in the comments to why you don't think he's top 10. And I would love to see your argument for that. Hey, giving you the opportunity, giving you the platform in the comments below to say your piece, even if you're a 49er fan. Even if, hey, maybe I need to see some things still. I need to see more consistency. I need to see body of work. Hey, I'm okay with that, but I want to see it in the comments. Let me know. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.